Welcome to the Dark Room, the surprisingly white room where destiny is driven to a climax for the poor souls who stumble across it. To see what lies ahead of you is to see the glare on a photo, never clear, never in focus, always jumbled reflections of the past where regrets come back to damn you. Today, we look at episode 4 of the Life is Strange episodic video game series, titled The Dark Room. Who'd have thought? I'll get this warning out there now. Turn back if you have yet to play the episodes before this. This is one ride you'll want to experience for yourself. The first section contains no spoilers for the new episode, but episodes 1 through 3 are fair game. Plus, the second half is going to include a spoiler talk for the episode itself. Feel free to click somewhere on the screen to jump to that if you'd like. Don't Nod got episode 4 out this past week, and those of us who know about my last impressions video know I was absolutely hooked and stunned by the final cliffhanger in episode 3. The developers know what they are doing, and they've proven it again and again week after week. Life is Strange and Tales from the Borderlands have been my staple in the recent episodic story-driven adventure game craze, with the latter giving the laughs and the corner being a cornerstone storytelling experience. The story of the high school photography student Maxine continues as she unlocked her ability to jump back in flashes of time to change events she was a part of. Her best friend Chloe had become depressed over feeling betrayed by Rachel, and started to bring back old wounds from her father's unfortunate demise in a car accident. Using her power, Max is able to save him and change the future. But change to what? As our heroine rushes over to Chloe's house, she is greeted by the healthy father William, and a paralyzed Chloe, who had lost control of her body from the neck down after a car accident of her own. Episode 4 brings much of the familiar back to the table. Graphically, the game runs well, reuses environments well enough to give a good polish to the new ones, and falters in some of the technical situations like underwhelming lip syncing. Audio-wise, the game still gives excellent and unique music to create every tone in the book. One thing to note, though, is that for the first half of the episode or so, everyone sounded like they were trying to whisper. It was weird. Not a horrible thing, but it was just a vocal tone that was really overused. Hardly a deal breaker, just bugs me enough that I need to make a note of that. Plot-wise, The Dark Room explores the minds of our cast to a much more disturbing degree than in earlier outings. It also has several instances where the game pushes you to be delicate, intense showdowns, make difficult decisions, or solve the biggest puzzles the series has thrown at you yet. The pacing can be a bit choppy because of this, but it picks up splendidly towards the latter half. One of the issues I had with the previous episode was its lack of feeling like your decisions made a real difference to the plot. The Dark Room changes this by giving unique scenarios and also offering tasks where getting the best outcome can be dependent on your previous choices. There's still quite a bit of instances of lazily thrown in reminders that you made this choice instead of actual consequences, but in general, the episode felt like it really stepped to the plate. Where The Dark Room loses its edge is on the simple premise of, well, lost potential. Time constraints remove the ability to look at some very interesting aspects of the story in more depth, and the story begins to rush towards setting up the finale for episode 5. The progress made by the characters in advancing the actual plot is astounding given where they were after episode 3. Its dots are connected in just the right way for everything to fall into place. This can only speak to my primary issue more though. Episode 4 was great. It did what it wanted to superbly. It had a great cliffhanger that paves its way for a wonderfully climactic episode 5. I just have a bad aftertaste in my mouth of this great meal where some of the aspects I was most interested in were just not given the time to develop that I really wanted to see. Spoiler talk time? Yeah, spoiler talk time. Seriously, haven't played episode 4? Then leave. Shamu, which I guess get off and getting spoiled by things, I guess? I guess it really just matters to you, but again, spoilers. If you watched the first part of the video, you know I was disappointed in what I dubbed lost potential. Specifically, I was referring to the alternate reality posed by episode 3's cliffhanger. The potential of exploring a largely new world with infinite new possibilities on what could have happened to this world, its people, and everything. Not to mention the potential effects it could have had on how Max's time travel even worked. Alas, it was not to be. The game spends a huge amount of time pushing the alternate version of Chloe's family, where debts are piling up and Chloe herself is on the verge of death. Instead of really delving into this new world and its potential effects on Max and everyone, the game instead decides it's best to set up for the ideal scenario for the assisted suicide question, which, yes, you do have to choose between. As effective as this was, which I happened to walk away from the game just to think about and make my decision. I actually want to talk to some family, just get their opinions. I was curious. It just leaves this bad aftertaste in your mouth when the alternate reality poses so many interesting possibilities, and they just go and focus on Chloe and all that. Especially after you get a sneak peek at some of those possibilities when you examine Max's texting history in this world. Soon after all this, though, Max makes her decisions and eliminates the possibility to returning to that world by basically burning the photo in the past. Interestingly, in the time Max spent crying over Chloe in the alternate reality, regular world Max was hard at work making up with Chloe and tracking down clues to find out what happened on the night Kate was drugged. The two head off on the trail of Nathan's crimes and find this mysterious darkroom under the Prescott's old family barn. Here, the real insanity of Nathan makes its light true, and the duo track down where Rachel's body was buried. Nathan's madness is particularly explored this time around, as the game paints a picture of an unstable child whose support from home is nearly non-existent, or shipped off with the Peace Corps. His art is on full display with a focus on tortured death and seemingly everything edgy and dark. While you have to feel for the guy when considering the exact situation that actually drove him to that state, he's still a complete asshole who needs to be snapped back to reality and take a step forward, possibly with a kick to the face. With no psychologist in sight, there really isn't much hope for this, though. When the game gives you the choice to let Warren kick the crap out of Nathan or pull him away, I, of course, chose to be civil and stop him. That was after, of course, letting him go through with it a few times and rewinding over and over and over and over again. I have never loved this mechanic in a game more, by the way. That was beautiful.
You like to hurt people, huh? Like Max? Like Kate? Like me? Huh? Feel this, motherfucker! Get off me!
Now, Nathan's instability aside, the dark room is really set up as some mysterious piece, seemingly a photography studio of some sort that is shown and gone in a flash as they rush off to find Rachel's body. The most interesting aspect of this all harkens back to the beginning of the episode with the alternate reality. If you pay enough attention to the text, it appears as though Max, being in the Vortex Club in this reality, was working in some sort of dark room herself, as she calls it. Now, this can mean anything. Realistically, dark rooms are an important aspect of old-time photography for developing photos, but I mean, I might be just reading into it, but my mind goes aflutter at the possibility of this room's intent going beyond simply Nathan's insanity, with Mr. Jefferson revealed to be the likely mastermind behind all in the final scene, which, great cliffhanger by the way. It's not a difficult concept to imagine the man reaching out and recruiting Max and potentially Victoria for whatever the true purpose is. Also, I'm pretty sure dark rooms are not supposed to be white. Just saying.